beautiful souls. It's Robin, and you're listening to the Live Life Balance podcast. I'm so excited that you dropped by today, prioritizing you and your wellness. This podcast is for my empty nester mamas, women who are getting close to this new chapter, who have dipped one toe in, or who are fully embracing this new phase. This is for the mamas who are ready to take back their health, to live their best lives. If you're looking for an authentic, supportive community, you're definitely in the right place. It's a space for us to learn how to prioritize ourselves again. I'll be your guide, pointing you to ideas and tools that you can experiment with to see what feels good for you. You'll also hear guests talking about their journeys and what's worked for them. Together, we're going to learn how to use the 1% shift method to create little shifts and habits that, who knows, maybe become your non-negotiables to feel your best. By feeling our best, we can show up in our purpose and live the most joyful life, even in the challenging times. And boy, this new chapter can seem challenging, but I can assure you we're not alone. Some of the topics we're going to talk about are self-love, self-care, nutrition, daily toxins, food swaps, mindset, and reframing our thoughts. I hope you leave each time feeling a little more empowered and at ease to take a step or two that will allow you to shine. Are you ready? If you said yes, take a nice deep breath and say, I am ready. Now let's get into it. Hey, happy hump day. Today we're going to be talking with Jodi, who has a company called All Organized Life. And I wanted to have Jodi on because I wanted to talk about how organization really does impact your life and your wellness, your physical, your emotional, your mental space. Is super important. And when you're going through something life-changing, sometimes when you're disorganized, it causes like chaos in your brain. And so today we're going to dive into a lot of different areas, but she has a background in OT. She has a background in organizing as a passion. And then she kind of combined those two things together and really serves people who are in transition of some sort to declutter and to make their space more functional. So I'm so excited to have this conversation. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I am super excited today to have Jodi on. She is actually a friend of mine, and we have been working kind of simultaneously together over the last couple of months, just dropping ideas and bouncing things off of each other as we're each working individually on our different businesses. But I think we have a lot in common. So I wanted to have Jodi on today because she's a wealth of knowledge as far as organizing and other things. So welcome, Jodi. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. How are you? Happy Valentine's.
Great. Oh, happy Valentine's Day to you too. So we're just going to get started. I know a little bit about you, but I don't know everything about you. So if you want to just tell me and the audience, just kind of how you got started on your wellness journey and where that's sort of taken you throughout the years and how you ended up in organizing.
Okay, yes. So back in 2016, I decided to go back to school. I went back to school for occupational therapy. And for those who do not know what occupational therapy is, basically we go in and a lot of times co-treat with PT. We laugh in the OT world. OT is from the waist up and PT is waist down, but we all know like it's a joint effort. But what we basically do is we help those who have gone through illnesses, injuries, special needs children, traumatic brain injuries, paralysis, anything that anybody has gone through that now has a new normal. We help them relearn or also keep them as independent and function in a different way. So all the else that we kind of maybe even take for granted that we all just do naturally, brushing our teeth, washing our face, bathing, toileting, making meals, all of that. Our job is to go in and to help relearn or do it a different way. So
I love that. And it's so important. And I think a lot of people don't know what occupational therapy is. I only learned it through just a loved one. And I think it is something that's very overlooked when we talk about recovery for a lot of things. But I think what's most interesting about that is when you can work with somebody one-on-one and you can see where they maybe do need to relearn something, you are really providing such a service to that human being, so that they can get back to life and function to their highest quality, especially after an illness or an injury or something like that. But I can also, like, I keep thinking in my mind, when you work with those people, so much goes into like changing their environment, right? Because when you go into their homes, if they come to, like an office, those are things people don't think about. And I remember when my mom was getting OT and I didn't know what it was, they would come and they would ask, like, show me where your room is, show me where your bed is, how do you get in and out of your bed? Like so many things, like, oh, that you should move this because this is sort of in the way. And so if she, like,
Yeah.
a hazardous thinking. So I think that in itself sort of, people really don't have as great of an understanding of all the little nuances that goes into what needs to happen when you have somebody who is recovering from something. So
Yeah, it's huge, right? Like things that we are like, oh, well, that's normal. Why, it's logical, right? But when you're going through something that's life-changing, you can't think clearly. Like it's physical and it's your mental health, right? So everything new and everything is overwhelming, and just having someone come in and just say, okay, yeah, even if it's moving a throw rug,
right.
Right. So
right. It's as simple as that. And people just, unless you've been in it, you don't know, right, until you're there. So
yeah,
I think that really kind of lends itself like to the organizational thing, because being organized and reorganizing sometimes some of the things that people may have done one way, but it needs to be a different way. If you are somebody who has clutter and things like that, sometimes that doesn't work. And I know you and I have talked a lot about this, but I'm very passionate about, organizing being part of not just your physical space health, but it also lends itself to like the mental health aspect of chaos and things. So if you could just kind of talk to like that kind of transform, or I guess transition from like OT into, the organizing part of
yeah.
what you're doing and how that flowed together, because I feel like there has to be a connection.
Yes, there is. And I love this because I smile every time I talk about it because it's love what I do. And I love OT and I love helping people. But and how I kind of got into the organizing, I guess, business, you would say, right? I was organizing kind of on the side by word of mouth while I was I was actually in pediatric OT and then also worked in a nursing home. And I was drawn to people organizing that were going through some kind of life-changing event, some kind of transition, whether it was a widow or someone who just had a stroke, or lost a child, or has a terminal illness. So I kept meeting these people and I'm like, okay, well, there's something here. Like I'm doing OT work, but I also love organizing. And also I have like this entrepreneurial thing inside of me. Like, I think if you're an entrepreneur, like, and if you know what I'm talking about, like it's like, okay, everything that has come across in my life, I'm like, oh, that could be a business. Oh, this could be, something that there's something here with my OT experience and my love for organizing and creating space that helps people become functional to be able to feel like a peace in their home. Or
I love that. And I want to stop just for 1 second, because when you were saying, if you're an entrepreneur and you see that, well, not everybody is, so not everybody sees that. But what I think that that really just like popped in my head was listening to the whispers, right? It's listening to the whispers that keep getting brought to you. When you were doing OT, you weren't thinking organizing, but you kept being presented with these people and the passion for these people and what could you do to serve them to make their life more at peace. Because when you are going through something hard, or even if you're not going through something hard and you just are not an organized person, it also really does lend itself to a lot of chaos that we have normally in our brain, but also that just kind of feeds into it a little bit more.
yes, for sure. So since COVID, coming across actually just all by word of mouth, just people who are just needing me to come in and help them because they're overwhelmed because, and I know we've talked about this before, just paralyzed in fear or stress. And I don't know what to do, right? So working with these people, seeing such a huge need, I decided the beginning of probably last year, okay, I'm just going to go for this. I have this niche that I'm drawn to, people who are in need, not someone who, oh, I want my pantry to look like the Pinterest board that I keep seeing on Instagram or whatever. Like going in and changing lives. I'm just going to use the word.
And I think like in this stage of the game that we're in, which is midlife, right? There's a lot of challenges that come with this stage of life. There's personal stress, which is menopause, and kids flying the coop, and who am I again, and losing a loved one, and dealing with caring for parents. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. And, you know, to have somebody come in and walk beside them to do these things is really where it's at. And I think that's what coaching does. It's the same thing like I do with people with health. I don't give you a prescription. I don't give you a diet plan. I could, but that's not where I'm at. Like, I like to walk alongside your journey because your journey is very different than the other person's journey. And there's not a one size fits all. And in organizing, you're right. You could go in and do the Pinterest boards and you can have like the pretty show, but to work with somebody who is in grief or who is in transition or who is just struggling with whatever it is, to be able to go in and help declutter their home and help declutter their minds in the process, you're actually serving them in a way that's going to create better health for them, which is why I definitely wanted to have you on the show. Organizing is not just about the pretty look. It actually is really good for your health. It's good for your mental space. And, you know, it's proven. It's not just something made up. But if you think about a time when, you know, maybe you've come home from a trip and you just kind of unpack, and maybe you're in a rush and so your luggage is, you know, not unpacked all week, and, you know, you have 50 other things going on. Living out of a suitcase, that's kind of what it is like to have a lot of clutter and disorganization, not only in your house, but in your brain. And so really, you know, starting somewhere, taking one step. And if it is just, you know, decluttering your bathroom so that when you walk in the morning to get ready, it's peaceful, right? And it brings you a sense of calm, because we all are craving calm, because in our society we live in, it's super like, you know, having space for you. And there was something on Oprah 100 years ago, and she said, no matter what you do in your home, women do their rooms last. Like, they set the kids' rooms up. This was when we were moving a lot, and they do the kitchen in the space of living, but they forget about their rooms, which is your sanctuary. And so that always kind of resonates with me, like teaching my kids, like, your room is where you spend a lot of time. So make it comfortable, but make it organized so that when you walk in, it feels good and not like a clutter bomb.
Absolutely. Makes such a huge difference. I had this one particular client not too long ago. For the consultation, she was just very unsure. She didn't really know what to expect, right? And I actually have found with a lot of my clients, like, it's almost like they're kind of embarrassed, like coming into their home. Okay, look what has happened over the years. I've lived in my home 20, 30, 40 years. It's stuff piled on top of stuff, piled on top. And they get to where it's like their home is a burden. Their home is overwhelming. Their home is not, like you said, your place, your retreat, your sanctuary, your safe space. Like, we all want to at peace when we're in our house, but but honestly, we all have those pain areas in our homes.
Sure, exactly. I was just going to say,
whether it's our garage, extra bedroom, a closet, like, we close the door, we take a deep breath, and it's like, I'll just
deal with that later.
Yes. And then we buy more stuff and we stuff more stuff, and it just becomes a lot. And then years after years, and then something happens, like we're talking about major life transitions, whether it's, okay, now I'm an empty nester, or my spouse passed, or I'm moving my parent in to live with us because they can't care for themselves, or whatever's happening. Like, it just becomes, our homes are just like the busyness. It's clutter and it's chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And
And it is a reflection of what's happening in your life, I think, big time.
And reflection of mental health, right? Because tired and we're overwhelmed, and
we choose to just close. I feel like our retreat of like going into our phone or watching like a mindless show is almost like a way to block out what you don't want to see because it is overwhelming. So you know, again, the first change for anybody is awareness.
Right.
Take a look around your house. You know, everybody, even the most, you know, healthy person, there's always space to be organized, right? And so the invitation today is to kind of look around your house and become aware of maybe your chronic patterns. Like, are you someone who shoves stuff in the drawer? Are you someone who doesn't even know what they bought because they bought and they just put away and they don't even, you know, there's no inventory of like what's happening because there's no organization. And, you know, I always tell my kids, put the same things in the same spot, because then you'll know where it always is. Because if you put your keys here one day and your keys here one day and your keys, you're going to need the clapper to find your keys. Like, it's just how it is. So it's like, you've got to create the organization for yourself, you know. And when they were little, I remember we had cleanup time and we had that little market, and I always made them put the stuff back, thinking that I was helping them. I probably, you know, was causing them some harm making them do that. But they get to teenage years and their brain just, I don't know, it goes up into smoke or whatever. And so then it's like reteaching them all the things again. And then they figure that out themselves. But so someone who's listening today, we're going to invite you to look around your house and see what's happening.
Right.
Take some inventory, make a list, you know, just simply, what room do you want to tackle first? But when somebody is trying to do it on their own, which some people can, right? If they're not super overwhelmed, if they want to tackle the project, you know, if they want to at least start somewhere, you know, before working with somebody, what would be like a couple of tips you could give to somebody who, you know, is in the awareness phase of like, oh, this room, you know, I want to tackle this small space. Start small, I would say, probably is the first.
Yeah, probably a lot of times a small space, and a space where it's not emotional, right? So like,
that's good.
A closet, maybe not even a closet, somewhere that there's not any attachment, any sentimental.
That's good. Okay.
Right? Because right now, to get different areas organized, you just want to get it done, and you don't want to have to think, well, should I keep this? Should I donate it? But maybe it's worth something. I'm going to pack it away in a bin, because if we start packing stuff away in a bin and then put it in the closet or put it up in the attic, you're still keeping the stuff and you'll never go back to it. Right.
Perfect. So right.
Starting in maybe a linen closet, or
that's good.
Something small, something unemotional. Remove everything out of that space. Like, you want everything out. And as you're bringing everything out, categorize it into, so say you're going to do your bathroom, right? So you're going to bring everything out of the cabinets, everything off the countertops, and put up like maybe little plastic bins, stay in your bedroom or on the floor, whatever. So you're bringing hair products out. One bin is for hair products, one bin's for your perfumes, your lotions, whatever things that you have in your bathroom, all the towels. And this is funny. And I think everybody always does this. So there's probably a space over the bathtub or on a chair. So we put dirty clothes, half dirty clothes, because we really don't know if we wore it long enough to be dirty. Clothes, because we're trying things on, we don't like it, so we just keep throwing things over the bathtub or whatever. And now a week or two later, like, I don't even know what this mess is, so we gather it all up and we're just going to wash it all. Now we have a lot of laundry to do. So those kind of cycles are overwhelming. But to have a system in your bathroom, like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep a hamper, right? All my dirty clothes. It's just getting in that habit and retraining your brain. Like, we just need to put things back so we don't get to this point.
Yeah. So I love that. And I also think because I'm like visualizing, like, while you're talking, like taking everything out, and you know, people probably have other things other than like bathroom items in their bathroom. I don't know why, like depends on if you have a linen closet in your bathroom. What I like what you said though was taking everything out, which at first I was like, well, that could be overwhelming to somebody, like I'm envisioning taking all of it out. But I do see the benefit of it, because then you really can get down to categorizing everything a little bit better.
Yes, and looking at dates. Even
I was just about to say that, like, look at the
yeah,
dates before you do anything, because half the stuff will probably be expired.
dates.
But I'm also going to invite you, because this is a wellness show, to look at your ingredients, and we'll
Yeah,
get into that a whole nother time. But,
yeah.
I think once you're educated on what is in your personal care products, you will be able to scale back a lot,
Mhm.
and simplify, because, once so you don't
Yes,
have to make
sure.
change.
Yeah, when you categorize it all, you can look at dates, you can look at ingredients, and then you can look at, oh my gosh, I haven't used this in 4 or 5, 6 months. I have a very short window of time. If I haven't used something, I'm tossing it. So it just, because it becomes clutter on our countertops, right?
Mm-hmm.
So taking everything out, discarding anything that you don't use, that is expired or whatever, and starting with a clean slate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I love that.
So I have a huge thing with countertops being clutter free. And it's really, if you don't want to go out and spend the money to have under the sink organizing bins or whatever, it helps to have everything contained. So then you can keep all my makeup is going to be in here, all of my hair products, all my bath products, like keeping everything categorized underneath the sink or in drawers. But buying small little, you can go to Walmart and buy little plastic containers. I don't think the dollar store has plastic bins, but keeping it contained, because it makes it easy to pull it out, use what you need, and then put it back instead of leaving it on your countertop. But I love on the countertop in bathrooms, it's like a lazy Susan, and you put all the stuff that you use all the time and it keeps it contained. And then you end up having your whole entire countertop, and you'd be surprised. I mean, I've gone into some homes where you can't even see the countertop and they don't even know what's on there. There's so much that it is overwhelming. And it's just like, I don't even know where to start. How do I know what to throw away? But like I said, I was saying before, just taking everything out and just kind of getting a really good look at it, and then putting things back organized into a container.
Okay, I like that. And I think those are like some simple things that, people can walk away with this week to try on to see how they feel. And, I always am talking about, 1% shifts and starting small. And I think, being aware of what you have going on and what you want to tackle. And then, using some of Jodi's tips, which is, take a small area, even if it's just one underneath one counter. You don't have to do it a whole room. Start, just somewhere. If you do one counter, that might give you, the experience of doing the pattern of taking everything out and going through everything and then putting it back in an organized way. And the more you build confidence, and practice it, the more, it will become a little bit easier to do. Sometimes, when we have bigger areas, when we have a lot of areas, when we have, something major life-changing going on, it's the very last thing that we can think of. And I will tell you guys, when I was moving my mom, I did reach out to Jodi, and Jodi helped tremendously. She went and organized my mom's apartment for us and got everything ready for us to move. And it really just took so much stress off of everything that we had going on. And it was done in such a loving way. And just when we were able to then start unpacking, it brought me a lot of joy that I was able to do it in a way that felt like I knew somebody else had done it exactly how I would have done it, which was with care and love and consideration of the things. And, nobody wants to throw out anybody else's stuff.
Right.
But sometimes I feel like it's really good to have the other person who's the outsider kind of looking in and be like, is this something your mom's going to use daily? Is this something that is going to impact or make a difference, to your loved one at that time?
Right.
And again, she's not saying throw everything out. If there are things that are sentimental, that's why she said don't start with that area. But when there are things that are sentimental, you can keep them. for a memory, for something that is meaningful. But if you're going to keep something and make a little box, make it something that you want to look inside. Make it something that you want to, have, not a bin that you're just going to throw in the attic. It's like, if it's that special, make it something that is that special. So
yes, I tell clients all the time too, if you have that special whatever it is, like, let's make an area where we can display it, right?
Right. Yep.
Keep only the amount of things, small amount of things that you can put them out. So if like, oh, well, this was my grandmother's, or, this was mom or my dad's, like, it's special. So if we're going to keep it, we might as well display it, and, so we can.
Yeah. And it actually, can bring somebody really a lot of peace and joy, just seeing that one piece of something, that it was somebody's on a daily basis, rather than only seeing it every year to whenever you dig in that box, so I think that's awesome. I can't stress enough that, organization is just not for the beauty and the functionality, but it is for your health and wellness. And home living and home environment are part of what we call primary foods. It is part of what makes us whole. And so, when we're looking at transforming our health, you guys know I always talk about primary and secondary foods, but primary, we really haven't hit a lot on home, but home is part of that. And so I wanted to have Jodi on to help us to better understand, how home kind of plays into that wellness aspect of who we are and how we show up in the world.
For sure. And you know what I love, and when we talk about the overall health and wellness, whether it's our diets or the way we eat, right? I hate using that word diet. Like, it's like, I don't want to be on the diet for the rest of my life, but I want to eat healthy, and I want to do things that are good for my body and for my mind. But I feel like all of that, because everything is happening in the home organization, the way we eat, the way we take care of ourselves, all of it is all linked together. Because if we live in chaos, if our homes are just out of sorts, and it happens, right? Life is busy. It's going to happen. Like, it's normal. And that's what I tell a lot of my clients too. I'm like, you know what, this is normal. And then on top of it, you're going through whatever it is they're going through. Like, it's going to get out of hand. And then sometimes you do need someone just to come in and, walk beside you and help you through that. And then once they get that first room or two, that is the biggest pain for them, they feel so much better. But then it links to, okay, I'm feeling better. I'm less overwhelmed. I'm less stressed. I'm probably going to make better choices with what I grab for a snack, or what my overall choice is as to how I eat, or maybe I can go out and take a walk. I'm not overwhelmed where I'm shutting down, because all of it's linked together, and it is our mental and our physical health. It's the whole package. So yeah,
I love that. And I think it's, again, super important. And as you were saying all of that, obviously the heart of most homes are the kitchen. Even if you have a gorgeous linked up, everybody stands in the kitchen. I don't who knows why. There's probably some science behind it or whatever. But, when I think about, and I was just chatting with someone the other day, it's like, if I set my week up to where I'm organized in my kitchen and I've done a little bit of food prepping, and when I say food prepping, I just make a sheet of vegetables and I cut up raw vegetables. If I have those things organized and in a way that are easily, available, I'm going to go for that before I go, to the pantry where I can open a bag of something and eat something, So again, that organization, it really does link up to a lot of things. And so I wouldn't necessarily start in the kitchen, but a pantry overhaul, I think, is really important when you are looking at dialing in your health and wellness, and being organized in the staples of your kitchen really helps for you to easily have access to things to make the healthier food, rather than go for the drive-through or go for the eating out.
For sure. And I feel like that's where you and I, like,
that's right.
Both of us, we working together on, okay, well, this person wants to choose a healthier lifestyle. So that's everything. That's the foods, like you said, we eat, the activities that we do or don't do. Also, we're coming up with systems to make it easier to make that choice, because when we're tired, I know when I'm tired and I haven't prepared a meal, I'm probably going to run out and grab something, which is I try hard not to do that anymore because it's just so unhealthy to eat out. You know,
It is. I mean, sometimes it happens though, right? Sometimes life happens and that's okay. But I love your word systems because I do think systems is kind of comes along with that habit practice. It's all in that same mindset of, when you have a system, a routine, something that you have created and you do it over and over and over, it becomes just like brushing your teeth. It is something you don't think about. It is something you just get up and do. And when you have those systems in place, it makes it easier to get into those habits that then become part of your lifestyle. So it all kind of rolls together. So before we kind of end, I like to ask everybody that comes on the show for a few non-negotiables that you've created for yourself to kind of help you walk on, a general health and wellness journey.
Yes. And I love that question because I know it's so different for everybody, right? But for me, it's getting up early. I say always, more days than not. I love starting my day with my quiet time. I journal. I have my devotions. I pray. Like, I love starting my day like that. And if I don't, I'm kind of out of sorts. So
you notice it, right?
Yes. I just need that time just to going into my day, just to think about, okay, what's important, what's not, what am I going to worry about? What am I not going to worry about? Just kind of having that mindset starting my day and getting out and getting fresh air, taking a walk. I'm all into swimming right now. Swimming laps for me is it's so good for my mind and I feel good, so for me, it's sunshine. It's my quiet time. Those are the things that it's hard for me to miss. It's hard for me not to do because if I don't do them, I definitely feel it.
Yeah. And I love that. And again, nobody's saying, and I like that you're giving yourself permission to give yourself grace on the days that you don't do it. But I think more importantly than that, I love how you've now gotten to a place where you notice you don't feel as good on those days. And that means that you're actually teetering into the lifestyle phase. What do I need to do to make my lifestyle feel a certain way? And that's what will happen with organization too. Like when you're organized and you have a system, is that system going to get wrecked up from time to time? Of course it is, right? Because it's just a natural way of life, right? But to know that you can go back to that system, go back to those daily practices, go back to that because that's where you feel your best. That's where the jackpot is, once you realize what those things are. And I think that is why I call them dips, but I think that's why we should invite dips into our life where we come off track, where we dip down and we go back to old habits of things that really didn't serve us, because then we can remember like, oh no, this new thing serves me much better. And so I'm going to make a conscious choice to go back to that so that I can feel my best. So I love that you brought all that up. And for those of you who don't know, besides organizing and OT work, Jodi, played tennis for a long, long time. I don't know if you're professional. I'm not sure where that goes, but she also taught us how to play pickleball. So if you're somebody who loves pickleball, Jodi's the pickleball queen too. She makes it look so easy, but for those of us who were new, it's been a learning curve, but it's been so fun. So I do appreciate you teaching us all of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I was just going to say this to end. It's like with anything, I feel like talking about overall health and wellness and everything. I heard someone say one time, like, okay, if we wait for our motivation, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to feel motivated. It's not going to come, right? We're not just, it's just not going to happen. It's our choice to say, this is what I'm going to do. And then you make a choice to say, this is what I'm going to do, whether it's getting a closet or a room or whatever organized, or it's working on making better choices in our diet or whatever. It's making that choice over and over. And then that motivation becomes, okay, I feel good. So now I'm motivated to keep doing that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know who said that. I do remember hearing something like that. Like if you're waiting for the motivation to happen, it's never going to come because you've got to motivate yourself. Something like that. And I also love Mel Robbins, where she does the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, or whatever. It's the take 5 or something. And she's just like, if you have a thought and you have the urge at that moment,
Yep.
do it within 5 seconds. Otherwise you'll be off to something else and you'll totally forget about it. And honestly, with menopause brain, that happens. So 5 seconds is about
right. Oh my, I know it. It's so fun. Oh my goodness. It probably was Mel Robbins that I heard that.
I don't know, but that's funny. I like her. So if you don't follow her, definitely follow her if you're listening to the podcast today. So Jodi, I'm going to put all of your information in the show notes, but could you tell everybody where they can find you?
Yes. So it is allorganizedlife.com. And on there, you could see what kind of services and packages I offer. And you can also click a button and it says book a call. And that's just the initial call to set up a consultation to come in and see what's going on and see how I can help you and how I can better serve you at your home. So, yeah.
I love it. All right. So that will be in the show notes. And then she's also on social media, I think. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'll drop all of it.
And I don't post a lot.
Which is totally fine. But I'll put it on there for people who are curious and just want to see pictures. Also, Jodi's an amazing photographer. That forgot to say that too. So as you guys walk away today, again, every week I like to invite you to, not just listen and then walk away and get nothing. I like to invite you to try something on. So I would love to hear what you decide to sort of try and see what it does for you. And if you have questions and comments, you can always leave that below, and then obviously DM at any time. So until next time, I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hey, I really love that episode. I loved how we were able to talk about organization being one of the primary foods that really is considered one of the things that impacts our life and our wellness. And I truly believe that when we can organize our homes, we show up in a better way because we're able to think more clearly. We're able to make better choices. We're able to feel at ease when we come into a space. And sometimes overwhelming organization can be overwhelming. So taking those 1% shifts that Jodi was talking about, picking an area that is not very sentimental to you, picking that area and then removing everything. And her steps and organizations, I think, were simple enough that we could all do it. But if you are overwhelmed by this task, please remember that Jodi's there to help you. Some of the takeaways that I loved were that organization helps to promote self-care and balance, that having systems and routine in place can create ease and calm, that organization plays a role in navigating life-changing events, and it also has an impact on our mental health and quality of life. So if you're someone who doesn't really love organizing, I challenge you this week to think about a space in your home that you could organize in a way that would cause you to feel less overwhelm when you're either getting ready in the morning or when you're preparing a meal or, just having your room set up in a way that feels good to you. We can all definitely take a 1% shift this week. Even if we're just compiling paper together that's all over the place and putting it where it needs to be. Just those simple little efforts and putting those systems into place really does help your wellness and will make you have a better day. So I hope you all have a great week and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in today. I loved being here with you. I hope that you got something from today's episode. I'd love to hear what resonated with you. Drop a comment below, and if you feel led to, download the episode and share it with someone you love that needs to hear this message. As we continue to spread the goodness of this podcast, I'd love for you to help us by leaving a review on Apple Podcast or a rate on Spotify. As we increase listeners, we will come up more often when women are searching for podcasts to listen to. To stay connected with me, you can check out my social media pages at Live Life Balanced with Robin. You can check out my website at livelifebalancedwithrobin.com. You can book a discovery call. And if you're looking for a way to get started right now, you can opt in for my new quick guide for the empty nester refresh. You can join my waitlist for my new course, It's Your Time, which is going to be launching soon, which I'm super excited about. And as always, thank you for letting me be part of your day. It truly means a lot that you're allowing me to be on your wellness journey with you. Until next time, find peace, love, and light by breathing, being present and allowing for all possibilities to happen.